And so I have one last smocking type technique that I want to show you, and there are quite a few templates out that'll create a variety of patterns that you can do for a gathering and smocking, or a Canadian smocking. There are tables that you can purchase from actually all over the globe, and the way they read is the same way that the other one read. Everywhere you see a slash line, those 2 points come together. Where you don't have a slash line, they don't connect. I'm going to roughly, yeah, I was about right, about 5 inches to roughly cut along here what looks to be, to me, about 5 inches. You can be more precise with yours, but I know that I'm not going to be smocking this entire width. I'm probably just going to do a strip for the design that I have in mind. Draw a line down and across. We're just going to do all 4 corners. Here. We're going to skip this box here and go. And since we're going to basically be doing a square in a square, so we'll do this square, we'll come down, and we'll do this square. It's quite interesting because you can come up with so many different patterns just by varying which lines or which dots you're going to gather and which dots you are not going to gather. Every pattern can be done in so many different ways. Actually, I'm going to vary this a little bit. Instead of doing 2 grids of squares this way, I'm going to just go ahead and alternate where those squares are. The biggest thing is just remembering that where the lines are, you're going to gather. Now this pattern, I'm not really sure what is going to come up with it. I mean, I know what the square looks like, but I'm just not sure as far as the alternating one. I just pick the lower right corner and I come up through it, and I'm going to go just to do a tack, which basically is at the corner to go take my needle, put it under, bring it up, so in and out. And then before I gather it, so I'm gathering all of these, I'm going to do the same tack all around here and back, because like I said, all of these are gathered. And now that that's done, I'm going to just pull all of them, pushing my fabric to the bottom, pull them all together, and you see this little kind of floral puckle here. And then once they are all pulled together, and if you see on this side, it created like a little flower with little petals, as you can see them here. All of those little petals. And since all of these pieces are together, we're going to go ahead and go through all of them and back stitch it, taking about 2 or 3 stitches. Okay, and so that's going to be our one design, our one square. And I'm going to go ahead and come down to this next one at the bottom, And I'm going to start here, and I'm going to back stitch there so that this line that has no, or this distance that has no line remains the same. So as you can see, it's tacked, it won't move anywhere. And then again, I'm just going to go around the square. I'm going to go in a clockwise manner, same as I did last time. And pull, ending right where I began. And gather them all together, pushing the fabric through, gathering them all together. And we'll see what interesting design we come up with for that. And now that they're all together, just doing the back stitch through all the layers. This is what it looks like from the front. This is what it's going to look like in the back. Just a series of zigzaggy angles. You could technically use it on this side as well. You would simply clip all of the joining threads off, and you'd have this really cute pattern going on. And on the other side, what I would use as the right side, you have these little lines. Now, if I had taken my grid and actually lined it up, you'd have these lines going in a square. But because I offset my square grid, as you saw in the beginning, I have this triangle trying to work itself in, and I actually am quite fascinated with that. I do really like it. So I'll have these two horizontal lines running down, and then these triangles trying to work themselves out in the middle, and I do like it. Now, I did want to give you one point. I cannot tell you for every gathering pattern that this is going to work out this way, but if you look at my template and you look at this finished piece, or the piece that I finished here, you'll notice that from the start to the finish it's halfway. So each length for my template, each one of my lengths, once I've once I've worked up my embroidery, I'm going to get roughly half of the grid that I ended up doing. If I pull back in my other work as well, yep, it's working up to be a little bit more than half, maybe I'll say 2/3 for this design. And then for my zigzag design, it's coming into also half. So if you wanted to know how much of something that you would know, a quick way to find out is to work up 1 or 2 rows according to your template, and then see what the gauge is. You know, mark how much or how far, what length you're getting per design that you're doing, and then you'll see how much you need to do for a completed project. That being said, these are my 3 different smocking gathering type techniques. Now, the other thing I did want you to note is that on lighter fabrics like this yellow and even on this pink, I don't know if you can see it, but I can. I can see the pencil lines coming through on the front where the fabric has been gathered. together. Also, I can see some of the stitches. So you definitely want to use either a fabric you want to show or you don't mind showing, or a similar colored fabric. And you also want to use a pencil that is going to be able to be washed out. I know that the graphite will wash out of this cotton, but you know, I know the ink pen that I had earlier would not. So you have 3 different designs, as it were, and you can get to stitching. The other thing I just wanted to go over again, these are the 3 different options that I was saying for the bodice. We have a basic bodice, a simple one that I'm going to upload and make available to download for PDF. And for something like this, which is a strip, it can go, let's say if this was our bodice here, so the strip would go either horizontally, you know, adding detail that way with these edges being tucked under, so you'd have this really cute little detail going horizontally across the body or about the bodice. It can go vertically, adding very nice details to the front, or in the case of like this, for a dress this size, of course the bodice would be great, the whole part being the bodice that you were going to cut out. Now, if you were indeed going to make the full bodice after you've done your piece, take some parchment paper, some wax paper, secure it to the bodice, and sew either in a zigzag stitch or a basting stitch. Basically, you want to baste around the outside of the pattern for the bodice and then cut it. If you cut it first, you are going to release all of your beautifully hand stitched gathers and pleating that you put into your fabric. So you definitely want to stay stitch, baste, zigzag, whatever you want to call it, around the edges of the bodice first, and then cut out your fabric. Okay then, until next time, that's all I have for you. Bye.